Jon Lester has announced his retirement from MLB. What a career, man. This dude pitched 16 seasons. He was probably one of the last real horses out there. You look at Lester, probably like you look at CC Sabathia, Clayton Kershaw, guys like that, big lefties. But yeah, like I said, 16-year career, 9.5 years with Boston. Then he got traded to Oakland in the Cespedes deal. He was only there for about half a season. Then he spent 6 years with the Cubs. Then last year he signed with the Nationals, got traded to St. Louis, and decided to call it a career. So Lester finishes with a record of 200 and 117. Like I said, you're not going to really see many guys that are horses like that anymore get to 200 wins. 3.66 career ERA and 8.2 strikeouts per nine. His 162 game average. So he averaged about 206 innings pitched per season. 15-9 record. Again, record isn't really a huge thing that we like to look at today, but I still think it's important for these types of guys, stats to look at, because they were important when these guys started their careers. And he would average about 187 strikeouts over those 206 innings. Pretty solid. I think the biggest story with Lester, though, is going to be his postseason accomplishments. Career 9-7 record in the postseason, 2.51 ERA, 133 strikeouts over 154 innings pitched. He pitched in 26 games. The dude was almost always on a playoff team, from his days with Boston to the Cubs. Then he was on the playoff roster with the Cardinals this year, even though he didn't pitch. I mean, listen, he was a 3-time World Series champ too. I think that really tells you what you need to know about a guy like Jon Lester. He won twice with Boston, and he won once with the Cubs. Obviously, he helped the Cubs break the 108-year World Series drought. He's going to be a legend forever in Chicago. I mean, he won the NLCS MVP in 2016 as well. He was a 5-time All-Star. And he finished in the top 4 Cy Young 3 times. He was the runner-up back in 2016. This dude never won a Cy Young, but he sure could have. I really think that Lester is probably going to be remembered more so as a Cub, just because of the curse and all that stuff being broken. But man, he had a lot of solid times in Boston. Again, he was pretty much the ace there twice in 2 of their World Series. Maybe he wasn't the number one at both times, but he was a big reason why they won him. Anyone who talks about Jon Lester says he was a great guy in the clubhouse. Really worked on his craft all the time. And I mean, if you just think about some of the guys he's pitched with, Clay Buchholz in Boston, he pitched with Jake Arrieta in Chicago, Cole Hamels. The list kind of goes on and on. Obviously pitched with Wainwright. He pitched with Scherzer and Strasburg to start the year in Washington. Hell of a career by him. I think, you see the CBA stuff going on. Maybe that kind of had something to do with him retiring. He didn't know what he was going to get. I know we've talked about him a little bit with the Cardinals. His stats were there, but his FIP wasn't really there. So his stats were a little blurred. I think he was kind of starting to decline, as we saw with Washington and last year with the Cubs. So regardless, hell of a career. And listen, I really think, in my opinion, that he's going to be part of some Hall of Fame conversations when the time comes 5 years from now. I don't know if he'll be a first balloter, but I think he'll be in the talks because of his postseason pedigree. I feel like he's got to be in the running, at least to get in at some point. So congrats on a great career to Jon Lester, and we'll wish him the best in retirement.